The first sign something was wrong came exactly 72 hours after Earth went dark. The Zkrell Border Patrol ship Inevitable Victory, and yes, they really named their ships like fortune cookies, written by a military contractor, encountered something unusual in what used to be human space. Captain, the sensor operator's mandibles were clicking nervously. I'm reading a single human vessel. Finally crawling back to beg? Captain Krexvar chittered with amusement. Power up weapons. Let's make this educational. The human ship wasn't running, wasn't hiding. It just sat there, broadcasting on all frequencies. Please confirm you are Captain Krexvar of the Zkrell Empire. This is he. Prepare to be boarded or destroyed. Your choice, though we recommend destruction. It's quicker. Thank you for confirming. Please stand by for Protocol 7. More human paperwork? I think not. Krexvar fired. Direct hit. The human ship didn't dodge, didn't shield. It just opened, like a flower, like a mouth, like something that had been holding its breath for a very, very long time. What emerged wasn't debris. It was dinner time, and the Zkrell were on the menu. The galaxy received Krexvar's final transmission 8 hours later. They're not ships. They're not ships. They're not ships. They're static. Back at the Confluence, Vextor was still laughing. One patrol vessel? They probably had engine trouble. Send the third fleet to finish what? Ambassador, his aide interrupted. A cardinal sin punishable by being eaten. But the aide's color had shifted to the pale blue of absolute terror. The third fleet is gone. Gone where? Gone, just gone. 600 ships, 40,000 crew. The only thing left is Admiral Zekthu's final message. The main screen flickered to life. Admiral Zekthu, pride of the Zkrell military, appeared to be having the worst day of his very short remaining life. Tell the Confluence, he gasped, purple blood seeping from somewhere off-screen. The humans weren't peaceful. They were in recovery. Behind him, something moved. Something that wore the shape of a human, but moved like liquid hunger. It smiled. Too many teeth, far too many teeth, and spoke in a pleasant voice. Hi there. I'm Lieutenant Commander Jessica Chen. I'll be your extinction event today. Can I interest you in our special? It's called Finding Out, and it comes after a generous portion of fucking around. The transmission cut. Gorvak, for the first time in his crystalline existence, looked worried. What does he mean, in recovery? The answer came from an unexpected source. The archivist, an ancient AI that most species forgot existed, suddenly activated its holographic avatar. Oh, this is delicious, it said, and for a construct of pure logic, it sounded positively gleeful. You absolute morons, you complete and utter fools. Did none of you wonder why humans had so many rules about war? Why they needed conventions and protocols and treaties limiting their own behavior? Get to the point, machine, Vextor snarled. The point, you chitinous imbecile, is that humans didn't create rules because they were weak. They created rules because they were addicted to war. Literally, physically addicted. Their brains release a cocktail of chemicals during conflict that makes your best recreational drugs look like herb tea. The assembly had gone very quiet. 3 centuries ago, the archivist continued, clearly enjoying itself, humans controlled 40% of this galaxy, and they didn't conquer it. They hunted it, species after species, planet after planet. They called it the Hungry Years. Not because they lacked food, because they couldn't stop feeding. That's impossible, Gorvak protested. We would have records. You do. You just never read them. Too busy measuring skull sizes and comparing fleet strengths. The AI projected historical data that made the assembly recoil. The humans stopped themselves. Barely. Created all those rules, all those laws, bred the aggression out of their diplomatic corps, turned their military into glorified police. They've spent 300 years in what they call rehabilitation. But we destroyed their embassy, someone whispered. Yes, and more importantly, you laughed at them. For 3 years. Do you know what happens when you mock someone who's been holding back their nature for 3 centuries? You get Protocol 7, which is... The lights in the assembly dimmed. Every screen, every display, Every surface capable of showing an image flickered to life with the same message. Protocol 7, all restrictions lifted, Geneva Convention suspended, Hague Protocols void, Lunar Accords rescinded, return to baseline human. May God have mercy on their souls because we won't. It was signed by every human in existence, all 15 billion of them. The Zkrell homeworld fell in exactly 72 hours. Not conquered, not occupied, processed. The footage was educational. Human soldiers, if you could still call them that, moved through Zkrell cities like a tide of purposeful hunger. They didn't use weapons in any conventional sense. They used themselves. Turns out when you remove all those pesky inhibitions, humans are basically highly intelligent, tool-using versions of those parasitic wasps that lay eggs in living hosts. Vexter's final stand was broadcast live. He faced down a single human, what used to be Ambassador Thorne's aide, Colonel Rivera. "Please," he begged, his mighty warrior's frame reduced to quivering jelly. "We didn't know. We couldn't have known." Rivera tilted her head, considering. She looked almost normal. Almost, except for the way her shadow had too many angles and her smile had too many dimensions. "That's the thing about fucking around," she said conversationally. "The finding out part isn't supposed to be convenient for you." The feed cut just as she began to demonstrate why humans had needed a specific rule against using enemy soldiers as biological weapons factories. Across the galaxy, species that had laughed at human weakness were learning that humanity's diplomats hadn't been their representatives. They'd been their handlers, the nice ones, the safe ones, the ones specifically bred and trained to not want to eat you. And now they were all gone, replaced by the real humans. The ones who looked at other species and saw not potential friends or even enemies, but complex organic puzzles that could be taken apart in so many interesting ways. The Morteki tried to negotiate. They sent their finest diplomats to Earth with offers of alliance, tribute, anything. The humans sent them back, in jars, conscious, somehow. The Whistling Conclave, who had written such amusing songs about human cowardice, discovered that humans could whistle too. The frequency they chose liquefied internal organs. They called it composing a response. Within 6 months, the Confluence of Civilized Worlds renamed itself the Courtesy Coalition. Every species adopted something like the Geneva Convention. Wars were outlawed. Aggression became punishable by immediate intervention from the galaxy's new peacekeepers. Other species who were absolutely terrified of making humans stop being nice again. Ambassador Thorne returned to his post eventually. He looked exactly the same, smiled the same patient smile, wore the same strangling tie. "I do hope," he said to the assembled beings, all of whom were now compulsively polite to each other, "we've all learned something about the value of civility." "Yes, Ambassador," they chorused like frightened children. "Wonderful. Now about those mining rights in the Vega system." "Take them," Vextor's replacement squeaked. "Take whatever you want. Please." Thorne's smile widened just a fraction. "How kind. But we'll follow proper procedures. Fill out the forms. Follow the rules." After all, his eyes glinted with something that definitely wasn't human. We're civilized beings, aren't we? The universe had learned too late that humans weren't the nice ones by nature. They were the nice ones by choice. And that choice was revocable. Somewhere in the archive, the AI was laughing itself into a feedback loop. "The strong devour the weak," it chuckled, "but the smart make rules about devourment. Idiots. Absolute idiots." The new galactic motto, unofficially adopted by every species, was simple. Be polite, be professional, but remember, humans used to eat planets for fun. And in the deepest, darkest parts of human space, where Protocol 7 was still active, something smiled with too many teeth and went back to sleep. For now.